there. I was so interested in seeing what him and Quinn Ewers do this time. There's been so much hype.
We have a pretty dangerous running back in Blake Corum.
Maryland's got Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
A little too backyard football in school.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. On this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, we are less than 30 minutes away from college football week 3. And you see who I'm with. The guy John said maize and blue, Mr. Alex Loosmo. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Us, like a lot of teams, are looking for a bounce back week here. And a lot of teams have that lined up. Hopefully it goes that way. And there's still a great week of college football going on. Some big games, playoff-wise, conference-wise, going on today. A couple happened last night. And, we're starting to get into those meaningful games quick this year.
Oh, yeah. Started having, like you talk about, the Thursday night game. You know, you're starting to get deeper into the week. These games, before we know it, will be in late October, early November, where you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Every night of the week is covered. But, yeah, no, to your point, man, last week shocked us. There were definitely things out there that we did not expect. I'm not going to harp on, our buddy Eric's game and,
like I said, we got our butts kicked too, so I can't say anything.
Right. It was a rough weekend for a number of area teams. Then on the other side, the flip side, if you sit here and talk to Scott Thaler, then it's like
he's on top of the world right now.
Struggles, right? Him. They haven't given up any points. Georgia obviously has been Georgia last week's game. And Anthony was hitting me up mid-game like, "Oh man, Etienne's balling out," and Carson Beck. And I said, "Who are they playing again?"
Give it a couple weeks till I think next week they play Bama or something like that. They got Bama coming up right away, Texas coming up right away. I
wish I could say Kentucky today, but what they did against South Carolina, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
they do have their former quarterback Brock Vandagriff, so who knows? We'll definitely see. But look,
if there's any time for Vandagriff to ball out, it's today.
Yeah, right. Hey, we know what Peyton Thorne did, even though he didn't have his job anymore, but we saw what he did last year. Yeah. But, real quick, we have breaking news. Like I said, hey, welcome to Let's Talk College Football. But there was breaking news this week. Alex, I'm going to bring it to you. We all know about the Pac-12 and all of the teams that went elsewhere. It was down to the Pac-2. But it looks like they're going to get a couple guys in their division. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so they now have the minimum number needed to stay a power conference, which is going to be interesting to see how it affects the playoff seeding. Is it now 6 guaranteed bids? But I'm now calling them the 6-pack. They've got 6 teams now. So joining Oregon State and Washington State it's a lot of states. Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State. And I believe it's in 2026. I don't think it's for next year. I think it's for the year after. Four pretty good programs moving over to the 6-pack to help build that up. And it'll be interesting to see how the Mountain West now rebounds. Do they go grab teams like North Dakota State, who are the top of Div 3, and bring them to Div 1 finally? I can't wait to see how that shakes out.
Oh, yeah. And, if they do, look, we've seen the number of D2 or D3 schools that have gone toe-to-toe with, BS talent. And, so much so as Montana State coming back and beating New Mexico State this year. NDSU gave Colorado everything they could handle in that first week. That took an amazing performance from Travis Hunter to even get that dub. So, I can see it happening. But to your point about with the 6-pack, I mean, yeah, that's come to the state conference because what is it? Washington State,
Oregon State, Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and San Diego State.
Hey, I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but it's crazy. But look, to your point, Boise State, we've seen year after year, they shock people left and right. Fresno State does the same. San Diego State is no slouch. I mean, home of the greats like Marshall Faulk went there, right?
San Diego State, yeah.
So Marshall Faulk definitely went there and did that. But listen, it's going to be quite interesting, man, and we're excited to see. So we're going to do a recap of the games, but before we do, we got our guy in here. I know he's about to get ready to go out here. He's going to be – his team is at game day is in South Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. So we had to bring our buddy, Mr. Will Kramer, to talk about this. Will, what's up, man?
What's going on, Will?
Listen, fellas, under a Carolina sky I stand, beneath the palmettos, and under the crescent moon. Today will be a sea of garnet and black. It's not a desert, but a sandstorm will build within.
There we go.
A sound that doesn't just penetrate the air, it penetrates your soul.
I love it.
LSU beware.
Yep.
Let's go.
It is Saturday in South Carolina.
Let's go.
Welcome to Williams-Brice. Let's
I love
go.
it.
Let's go.
I love it. That's going to be such a good game today. That's my favorite game of the day, honestly.
Oh, yeah, man.
Over Bama and Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah. Bama, that game's over by the end of the third. I think your guys' game goes down to the wire.
They would love that. They would love that. It's going to be interesting. A major contrast in week 2 against Kentucky. Totally different offense, different strategy. Kind of made you wonder, were they holding something back against ODU, not putting stuff up there because they look bad. It's going to be a fun matchup between the trenches. Alex, your favorite?
Yes.
You've got LSU's strength is their offensive line, and if I'm saying anything you guys have already shared, I apologize. But the Gamecock strength is their defensive line right now with the freshman Dylan Stewart making plays. Georgia Tech's transfer Kyle Kennard, number 5. Those two guys on the edge are doing well. And then you've got the interior, the D tackles that are really making some plays for South Carolina. So that's where I think that the game's going to be kind of fun. Fun fact, number 95, his name's Boogie. So he played lacrosse. And he's a big dude, obviously, if you're playing defensive tackle. Well, I would officiate him, and he would lower his shoulder into guys, and for a little bit it'd be okay, and then he'd lower it and push the guy, and I'd hit him and make it a turnover, and he'd turn to me and go, again? I'm like, again. And it happened for like 2 years, because he was his size to just push kids around.
Love it.
That's great.
I was like, anyone wearing number 95, that's a big dude.
Right.
Well, look. So
go ahead.
I would say so. You told us about the defense and all that. When I was watching back the Kentucky game, your quarterback was Lenoris
Sellers. Yeah,
Lenoris Sellers. I mean, he looked mobile. He had a couple injury issues with that. But are you trusting him with that offense? Going up against LSU.
Certainly, because they're being careful with him. They're kind of holding him back. They're not exposing him too much. He's a big dude. He's like 240. He can carry the load and make plays.
With the red specs.
He's got the big turkey red specs, man. It's kind of funny. But he's got a strong arm. I don't know right now how accurate it is, but he's got the ability to go over the top with it.
Yeah.
So it should. Yeah, I mean they're pretty careful with him. They want to have a running attack with Rocket Sanders and some of the other guys, and using Lenoris in that way. They want ball control with him.
Yeah, I can dig it. Well, look, we're not gonna keep it that long, man. Let us know.
No, I gotta watch Don make the picks. I got like 2 minutes, but I can tell you this: it's really exciting down here. They canceled youth soccer because the fields are right near the stadium.
Nice.
I went there yesterday. Took Patrick to go take a look at it. There's just anytime game day comes on campus, there's an excitement in the air. It's been 10 years since they've been here, so people are kind of itching for that, to be known again, because it's been a rough decade since Spurs, left. So it's exciting down here.
Hey, look, I got my upset pick waiting. I think you're gonna like it, man. But what's your pick for this game? What's the score?
I'll go 23-19 South Carolina.
There we go.
Nice. Love it.
All right.
Let's
Have
go.
a good day. I'll be in touch.
All right, man.
All right, later, Will.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, buddy. So yeah, no, I'm definitely excited about that one. He's gonna be there live at game day, and we are hyped to see what he does. But look, let's go into it. You alluded to this before he hopped on about that there are games Thursday night, Friday night. And Alex, this first game, a week ago we were talking about, Illinois, Indiana putting up 77 and balling out.
Oh, yeah.
And then South Alabama said, hold my beer. It went up 10 on them. 87-10. When I looked at the score, Alex, I was kind of like, what? And even when you look at the game, it's like, damn, they just couldn't be stopped.
They did a 6-minute fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. And I'm pretty sure South Alabama still scored 10 points in that 6 minutes. Yeah. I think it was 77-10 going into the fourth. It was ugly. That was one where I saw the score. I was at work. I saw the score on break, and I did that double take. Like, did I actually see that right? Is that supposed to be 87? Who messed that up? Like, no, it was insane. And I watched a couple clips of it, and it was just score after score after score after score. Yeah. South Alabama did whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, and it got to the point when watching the recap where it was like when South Alabama didn't score, you're like, what happened?
Yeah,
is everything okay? Like, it was just merciless. Look, Gio Lopez, our quarterback, 15 of 19, 57 yards and 4 TDs. Two backs had over 100 yards rushing. They had a pick six. They had a punt return. But I think the most interesting stat is that they had two kickers that kicked at least 4 extra points in this ball game. It's like everybody's
starting kicker got too tired, like
right. I mean, he kicked 8. The first guy kicked 8, and it's like, all right, man, I got to take a breather.
Yeah. I mean, they all did happen so fast. I mean,
it's craziness, but I mean, it still does happen, ladies and gentlemen. 87 points was put up by South Alabama. So, and as far as Northwestern State, I don't know how you get over this one other than just try to completely erase it.
You burn that tape so quick.
Yeah, to you, and hopefully to your recollection did not happen, and just move on because this was ugly. This was ugly. But look,
in your mind, week 3 was a bye. It was a bye week.
Oh yeah. Totally scratched. But look, so let's move on down the list. Another game that was on that night, which is the absolute opposite. If South Alabama, Northwestern State was completely spread apart, this game was as close as you can possibly be all the way through. Tied at 7 after 1, tied at 21 at the half, tied at 28 at the end of 3. And in the end of the game, it was only a 3-point difference between the two teams. I mean, we talked about this with BYU and SMU last week. It's the same thing. I mean, hard fought, back and forth, whatever you can do, I can do. Like, I mean, it was great all the way to the end, but Arizona State got the dub, man. What you think?
Yeah, this was a really fun game to go back and watch. And like you said, just so back and forth, so even. These are two very good offenses to start the year. And then my one thing to add to this is I don't know if you saw the clip of the coach after the game for Arizona State.
No.
So Arizona State kneeled the ball to close out the game, but the quarterback made the mistake of kneeling as the clock was going from 1 to 0, but it still showed 1 on the clock. So the ref made everybody go back to the sideline, and Texas State got another play.
What?
And the Arizona State coach Marshawn Lynch was like, I'm out here so I don't get fined, and had nothing nice to say, and he was heated.
Wow.
The quarterback kneeled just a bit too early and gave Texas State a chance to win that game.
Wow. That thing went back and forth. And you know what's funny? Yeah. That's fitting for that type of game. It's like nobody wants to win this one. Everybody's trying to give the other team a chance. Look, that's crazy. And I don't know if it was that game or another game where they were trying to kneel it, and I guess the quarterback took too long, and then like the defender actually went and sacked him, and then all of a sudden you see this one player for the opposite team rip his helmet off, and he's just going after this guy, and they ended up throwing a flag. I don't think that was that same game. I think that was.
Don't think it was this game, but yeah, I remember.
I think it might have been UNLV. Maybe that next one.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that.
Not exactly sure. But, hey, as a matter of fact, let's go into that one. UNLV comes from behind after being down 17-6 at one point in the first half to pull out the victory. Barry Odom has those guys at 3-0 early on this season. And, I mean, this was a tale of two halves, essentially, because, everything up until that touchdown before the half. Because Devin Neal, Jalen Daniels, these guys were running all over UNLV, and Kansas, it looked like at one point like Kansas didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to UNLV for starting out 3-0.
Yes.
And that's not an easy start by any means. I mean, obviously Kansas, but before that, Houston in week 1, dominating Houston. Week 2 was a blowout. It was 72-14 over Utah Tech.
Yeah. But
Houston and Kansas are no slouch, and they dominated both those teams. And where does Kansas really go from here? Because like you said, there were times in this game where they looked dominant, and there was times in this game where they looked lost.
Right.
So how does Lance Leipold kind of right the ship here and get them going? Because the good thing is these are non-conference games.
Yeah.
So they kind of got to get rolling here, mostly because I have them losing in my conference championship prediction. So they need to get it in gear here. But yeah, kind of a rough start out of the gate for Kansas.
Yeah, this one, I mean, again, a tale of two halves. I mean, like I said, the first half, they go up 17-6, and you can really tell. So they ended up, I believe, getting a fumble or something to turn it over, and it looked like at one point right before the half, they're about to go in and really put this game away and go up, 3 scores. And then all of a sudden, the announcer sits there and says it right now. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just, run the ball, get in field goal range. Don't pass it and throw an interception right on cue. Guy throws a pick, runs up. And then UNLV is getting up down the field. And I put this in the group chat where I was like, clock management, what are you doing? Because they let 20, 30 seconds elapse right now. And they had 2 timeouts. And the announcer, the commentators are like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? But if you know the play call is going to work, you don't need that much time. They ended up calling a wheel route to the running back. Quarterback put it right over the defender's outstretched arms, and they ended up getting the touchdown, making it 17-13 going into the half. And from that point on, Kansas only scores 3 points, and UNLV completely takes over that ball game. And look, my new favorite last year, and I've said this to you, Diego Pavia from New Mexico, obviously now doing things in Vanderbilt, having that success. Matthew Sluka. I mean, when the pass game wasn't working, he was 7 of 18 from pass game. When that wasn't working, he just ran. And we always,
yes, he did.
Right. And we always talk about, you don't want to use your feet, always look downfield. No, he put the game on, he put the team on his back and continued to run the ball, pulling over 124 yards on the ground. And at one point in the game, even the commentator said, hey, this is what's working. Like, they're just going right to him. They're not even, disguising it or anything like that. And he was tough. He went up against all those guys, and that team really hopped on his back. And I enjoyed watching it. They got the dub. And to your point, man, shout out to UNLV, man. Let's see where this goes.
Yep.
Let's definitely see where this thing goes. And then one more game from the night, the surprise of the night.
Yeah, I was so wrong about this one. Holy.
Me too, man. Kansas State comes and he kills Arizona after Arizona starts off, early getting the quick touchdown. But what happened in this game, Alex?
Yeah, this one was really surprising because Kansas State the week before really struggled against the pass. So I thought with Fafita, McMillan, and that Arizona passing offense, I thought Arizona would not only keep this close, but steal this game away.
Right.
That was not the case. They moved the ball at will. They moved Fafita had almost 300 yards, only had the one interception, didn't have a touchdown though. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing. Anytime they got close, Kansas State bowed up, played that defense, shut it down, and limited Arizona to only 7 points. Yeah. Compare that to Fafita's games last year. I don't think he scored under 20
right.
in any of those games. This offense has been balling since he took over. Kansas State completely shuts them down. Big thing, though, like I sent in the group chat last night, this doesn't count towards conference standings, even though they're both Big 12 teams.
Right.
Because this game was scheduled pre-conference alignment, and they agreed to keep it as that. So they'll still play the full 8, 9, 10, whatever conference games they're going to do, and this won't affect that record.
Okay. So with this,
which is good for Arizona,
right? But what this would only affect what if they're trying to get into the playoff?
Yeah, head-to-head playoff, that kind of stuff. It won't affect the conference championship, but it'll affect everything else.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, good for Arizona. And I think that begs the question, man, have we misjudged Kansas State this year?
I really think so. I thought they were ranked 14th. I thought that was a little high. But they've found ways to win and win convincingly. Yeah. To where I don't know if they can be denied any longer. This offense does whatever it needs to. Avery Johnson absolutely killed it in this game, the quarterback for Kansas State. And that's a guy that I've been kind of waiting to see, okay, when they play a real team, let's see what happens. Well, they just played a real team, and he looked awesome. So I think Kansas State's legit this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We talked about coming into the year, one of our running backs, sleeper running backs, was DJ Giddens. And him in that backfield, he balled out over 80 yards on the ground. But the play of the game, the one that I saw that I was so impressed with, is ex-Colorado running back Dylan Edwards taking that punt return all the way back, or it was a punt or a kick return. It was a kick return, taking it all the way back. When he hit the sidelines, you saw the speed that he had. He outpaced everybody to the end zone. And you're just sitting there looking back at Dion in Colorado, you really let this guy go?
Yeah, you saw his speed in the TCU game week 1 last year. And that was basically it. And he's an 18-year-old kid at that point, and I was like, boy, he's going to be special. And then he just disappeared, shows up in Kansas State this year, and has kind of picked his spot so far. But lightning in a bottle. Very, very reminiscent of former Kansas State guy Darren Sproles to me.
Yes. I absolutely love that example, man, because it definitely looks like it. The size, the kind of compactness, and that lightning speed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely love it, man. Yeah, those are the 4 games that were going on. There are some games that are starting up now, so definitely tune in. We are going to sit here and give you since we weren't here on Tuesday, we're going to give you our week 2 game balls, starting with our honorable mentions. And I'm going to go first with my honorable mention. I mentioned this guy last week, and I did not want to put him in 2 weeks in a row, but with the way he's been playing, I could not hold back, even though they got the loss. Ashton Jeanty of Boise State, 196 yards, 3 TDs, We knew he had over 260 some odd yards, I think 267 a week ago. So he's by far up there in the rushing totals in the country. Totally balled out and kept them in that game where they only lost by 3 to a solid Oregon team, man. So Alex, what's your first honorable mention?
So my first honorable mention is a team that pretty much everybody gave zero chance to win that game last week, talking NIU. Pulling the upset on Notre Dame. Sorry, EK, if you're watching this. But Ontario Brown, the running back for Northern Illinois, 20 carries, 99 yards, essentially a 5-yard per carry average, which is insane against that Notre Dame defense. And then also had 2 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. Ooh. This dude was just the do-it-all Swiss Army knife for them, and he balled out on their biggest stage. So I can't wait to see what NIU does with this, builds off this, and maybe makes a run of that Group of 5 playoff bid.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge, huge win. It'll definitely help them. And the rest of that schedule looks definitely favorable to them, especially I think they have Buffalo this week, and then I believe they have North Carolina State next week. And we saw North Carolina State let, albeit dominant Tennessee team put 51 on them, but still, you couldn't even muster up an offensive touchdown. So it's going to be interesting to see if you and NIU can pull that victory out. Watch out for them for sure.
Absolutely.
My second honorable mention is Rutgers running back Kyle Monaghy, 208 yards, 3 TDs, and a big victory for Rutgers. Every year, they're always giving somebody some trouble. You guys, they always, give you guys a little bit of a test from time to time. But I love what they're continually building. We know Rutgers is one of those teams known for some solid running backs. Ray Rice was over there, several years back. So seeing this, having him ball out too. Oh, right. Absolutely. So having these guys ball out like this is pretty dope, man. So Devin, shout out to Kyle for him. What's your second honorable mention?
This is a guy we've called him out and praised him week after week after week. And I can do that because he left that team down south. Mr. Kyle McCord lit up the stat sheet again against a very good Georgia Tech team that we've seen start off the year. Made it look easy. 381 yards, 32 of 46, 381, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Also ran 3 times 10 yards. But he's in total control of this offense. This is another team that I've been it might be because of that history with McCord, but I was kind of, and the school as well, but kind of waiting for them to kind of fall off.
Yes.
Like they usually do week 3, week 4, week 5, somewhere in there.
Yep.
I don't see that happening because this is the best they've looked in a very long time. And McCord's a big part of that. I think this is a guy that you might kind of have to start giving him some consideration for the Heisman the way those numbers are.
Oh, absolutely.
I think him, Genty deserves to be in there as well. And then my front runner, I'll talk about some of his teammates in a few minutes here, but Quinn Ewers is my favorite right now. Yeah. He's just looked so freaking good all year long.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely has. And I know you've seen the new Dr. Pepper commercial with him talking about, and I don't know if you noticed that at the end, he was like, yeah, I did it. And the guy was like, yeah, with no backup. And I was like, is that a shot to Arch? Is that a...
Yes, it is.
I was like, okay, Quinn. Okay, buddy. Let's go.
Yo,
and real quick, my last honorable mention, you alluded to it earlier, and I'm just going to give it to the whole damn team. Eric, I love you, buddy, but I apologize. I didn't see this happening at all. NIU getting the upset. This has to be, and I know you know this has to be App State over Michigan. Like this is one of those. I mean, you see the interview with the coach after the game, and he was moved to tears, and I would be too. Like I did not see this.
Yeah,
you would have asked me 100 times, 101 times, I would have said, "I'm sorry, NIU. Notre Dame's gonna whoop you," and they didn't. So shout out to them, man, the team.
I mean, you see that if you looked at our group chat throughout that day, and multiple people, I felt so bad for EK because not only did the loss happen, but people kept coming in at different points throughout the day and being like, wait, Notre Dame lost?
Right.
Wait, Notre Dame lost? Like, just sticking the knife in and twisting time after time after time. As another team that got their butts kicked, I'll roll listen to my game ball here, but you never want to see that.
Nope.
My game ball, my last game ball, you went with the whole team. I went with a unit here. The Texas offensive line.
Yeah.
This group dominated. They imposed their will. As a former offensive lineman, I hated to see it against my own team, but it was art. It was pure art. That game plan was perfection. Everything that Texas did on last Saturday was insanely good. They remind me a lot of us last year, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. When you were, I spoke ad nauseum about our defensive tackles, our defensive line in general. Quinn Ewers was not touched. He was not sacked. He had all day in the pocket, and there were a couple times he had to weave his way through, but most of the game he was comfortable. And then they ran for almost 5 yards a carry, 32 carries, 143 yards, and a touchdown against that defensive line. Yeah. Phenomenal performance by that offensive line. I think them, probably LSU, Georgia, obviously, but I think there's kind of those elite offensive lines that set themselves away from the rest, and Texas is absolutely one of them.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely led by Quinn Ewers, even like you talked about, man. Hey, I didn't want that to happen, but they showed. Now, I don't think that would have happened if they get the W and they make it the national championship last year. I think y'all team was far too powerful for them.
Yeah. I think we beat them last year, but I didn't know what to expect. But in the back of my mind, I was like, we could get whooped today. Like,
yeah, man, you lost a lot of guys. But yeah, hey, move on. We're moving on to the next week.
Arkansas State today. It's a get-right game today before USC next week.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Give us a week, man. Give us some time. But look, you alluded to it. Let's talk about these Saturday, the big name games. Obviously, we talked to our guy, Will, who's at South Carolina, and like game day, LSU, number 16 LSU at South Carolina. For me,
South Carolina's driving right now.
Huh?
South Carolina's at the LSU 30, 2 minutes into the game. They're driving.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, yeah, tune in for that. Obviously, Mizzou playing Boston College, both of them ranked. Oregon State, Colorado State, Washington.
The Apple Cup today, yeah.
Right. What are some of the games that are the big ones that you're eager to watch today, outside of you guys?
My most favorite, my biggest game of the day is that LSU South Carolina game. That's the game I kind of had circled from the moment last week ended. The way South Carolina bounced back against Kentucky, I think this is a scary, scary game for Brian Kelly and LSU. I don't think you want to be playing that game right now. The way those edge rushers are going. Obviously, there's Alabama, Wisconsin. Like I said earlier, I expect that one to be routed by the third quarter. I just don't think Wisconsin knows who they are offensively, personally. Right. Obviously, the ranked matchup, Boston College, Missouri. I'm very interested to see how Boston College hangs against Missouri because the Tigers are one of the elite teams this year.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome, Scott. You just heard me say it. Elite offense, elite defense. I think this is a team that SEC teams should be terrified to play. Mm-hmm. You've got Brady Cook to Luther Burden is on fire right now. Yeah. That connection so far cannot be stopped. And it's going to be hard to beat this Missouri team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And like we talked about, I mean, that offense is nice. Yeah, but their defense has not given up a point yet this season. I mean, that, I understand. I think they played Murray State and, they played teams and they played Buffalo last week, but still to hold anybody to a shutout is a big thing. And to do it back-to-back weeks. Yeah. So watch out for them. I completely agree that they're definitely an elite team. Yeah, for me, obviously, I think we got to go. There's a lot of the rivalries. You mentioned the Apple Cup, Colorado State. We saw what kind of a great game that was a year ago. You mentioned one of the games, and I think we're going to mention it a little bit later. Florida versus A&M. We talked about it. Lagway got some playing time against Stanford last week, and he balled out. But we've heard Mertz is back, and he's going to play. I mean, if things go bad, are we switching back to Lagway? I mean, I like Mertz as a guy, but he's not the guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, to me, something had to change. Lagway came in and played pretty good last week.
Right.
So it's why go back when something clearly didn't click? And Lagway comes in, and I know it was a much lesser opponent, but things started to click. The gears started to turn again.
Yeah.
Part of me is just like, is Napier trying to get fired at this point? Like, there's some really questionable decisions. Hopefully it works out for them. Mertz, maybe he's going the experience factor against A&M. Maybe that's why Mertz is starting.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I could find for why Mertz is starting this game.
I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing. I mean, we know how stout that Texas A&M defense is. You need all the help you can get, and more than that, you need momentum. You need a shot in the arm, and that's what we thought we saw last week. Again, albeit against Samford, but still, you had precision passing. You had him moving the ball up and down the field, and they looked like a competent offense. Mertz has not been able to do that, at least thus far this season. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, like up until the announcement came out, there was rumors that it was going to be a 2-quarterback system. And I said, okay, fine. Get the experience and then get the shot in the arm. I'm good with that. It's worked. It's worked in Florida come on. It's your best period of your career of the history. It worked for you guys. So we'll see what happens. Another one that I'm interested in, Auburn versus New Mexico. Y'all know I've talked about New Mexico, Devin Dampier. They have not gotten a victory yet, but they've been in each of their matchups. Well, Auburn has also shown up and shown out. I mean, they've been blowing teams out this year, and we are very familiar with the quarterback that they had started, Mr. Peyton Thorne, the ex-Michigan State quarterback. But Alex, he's going to be benched this week. I think he threw 4 picks a week ago. So was not true freshman, but redshirt freshman Hank Brown will get the start. I'm really interested to see in this game. This game could be a nice one.
Yeah, and especially given that change at quarterback, it's like what are we going to see from this Auburn offense? It kind of leaves that uncertainty in the air, gives New Mexico that chance to finally get over the hump. Like you said, they've been in every game so far and just find ways to lose. Auburn's been that exact same way. They found a way to lose that game against Cal. If I'm not mistaken, it was at home. And so you lost going to Cal last year. You lose when they come to you this year. Not a good look. And yeah, I don't know what to make of that game, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And that's it. The total, kind of mystery of everything. You know what I mean? A guy starting for the first time, a guy that is continually trying to prove it, but just can't seem to get out of his own way. Like, both teams that need a victory to keep this thing going. Yeah, I'm all for this. I cannot wait. But look, let's move on down the list. Let's throw out our upset picks for the day. Let's each do about 2 of those, and if we have 2 out there, Alex, what's your first upset pick of the day?
Sorry to another guy in our group chat. This team has been off to such a rough start, taking a beating to start this year. I got them taking one more. I got Memphis pulling the upset. They're 6.5-point underdogs to Florida State.
Yeah.
I don't have faith in DJU and the way that offense is rolling. And Memphis is hot right now. So regrettably, give me Memphis to beat FSU today. FSU starts 0-3.
Yeah. Somebody asked me, they were like, look at the rest of Florida State's schedule and how many wins can you give them? And at first glance, I was like, all right, just off the name, I'm going to give you, 4 or 5 wins, including like these next 3. And then my guy hit me back. He was like, for real? Can you really see that? And I was like, realistically, I could see him winning 2 games this year.
Yeah.
And the next 3 are not ones that I classify as any of those 2. And it's games they normally in normal years, it'd be like, oh, yeah, it's easy. They're going to walk.
Yeah, they don't sweat those normally.
Yeah. But now, and starting with this Memphis team, that's a solid Memphis team. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. My first one, shouting out to our guy, man. Hey, a year ago, I was out there in South Carolina visiting him, going to the North Carolina versus South Carolina game. Love that area. So beautiful, especially at this time of the year. And game day coming back here, rightfully so. LSU kind of struggling, even though they're playing decent, but they have had their issues. I gotta go South Carolina in this one. This is my upset. South Carolina is playing with momentum, and I think Beamer is going to get these boys going. And it's going to be something with some Beamer ball, some fake punt, some field goals.
It's off to a good start. It's already 7-0 South Carolina.
Exactly. And like what you said, Corso picked against them. He picked LSU. If it's like me, Corso, you might not want to pick that direction. I don't know, man. Alex, what is your last upset pick of the day?
So my last one, I'm going to one of those rivalry games we talked about. I am going to the Apple Cup.
Yeah.
Washington, a team like us that lost so much from last year. Washington State's kept a lot of the same pieces. Yes, they lose Cam Ward, but they have the guy that's been behind him and kind of been in the system the last 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. I think they can absolutely steal this game today. And I'm going to take him. Give me Washington State.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, their quarterback, like John Mateer, I think it is, almost had 200 yards rushing in that game last week. So, yeah, I love that pick.
Also, Memphis is up 3-0 on Florida State right now.
See? Calling it, man. Calling it. Yo, my last one goes also to a rivalry game. And Alec, I purposely did this once you were out to sea because I don't want you to hear this live. Oregon State, the Beavers are going to beat the Ducks, in my opinion. Oregon has struggled. We know they struggled with Idaho. They struggled with a very good team at Boise State, but it's so much that they've tried to put out these first 2 weeks. I think this rivalry game, Oregon State just comes and sucker punches them and gets that dub. So, yeah. I'm taking that upset. So, Alec, forgive me. Still quack, but
he'd probably be right there with you. To be honest.
Oh yeah. Oh no. He's probably picking this himself, man. So we will absolutely see. But look, hey, we are close to the end of the show. But you know how we end it. We never settle for the extra point. We always go for 2. Yeah, buddy. We're going for 2. It's just our last little thought before game day, before kickoff, even though most games have kicked off already. But we just saw a little 2 cents going into this week. Alex, what is your game going for 2, man?
To start it off, obviously, enjoy today. Enjoy football. Yes. Being back in the swing of it. My non-football related part, though, just make sure to keep reaching out to people. Check in, see how they're doing. Sometimes, they could be having a rough week, rough stretch of days, whatever it is. And just that call somebody reminding them like, hey, like people care. Yep. That can totally reset it. So just make sure you check on people.
Oh yeah. I love that. Yeah. For me, it's middle of September. And I know for all of us, it seems, this is early in the season, but it's already week 3. We're already talking about playoff and conference implications. We're already started looking forward to all October and November and the midnight and the evening games and the weeknight games and things like that. This just as quickly as it came. Well, it didn't seem like it was that quick coming back in.
Forever.
Exactly. But just like that, the season will be already over and we're going to be looking back to it again. So definitely take your time and appreciate each one of these games. Watch as many as you can. I know everybody watches their own, but watch as many as you can because before we know it, it will absolutely be gone. But for my personal one, consistency. Be consistent. Whatever it is you're doing, don't be fly by night and just, I'm going to do it today and do it consistently. It's consistency. I love doing each one of these shows because it's something that I can know Saturday, this time we're doing it. I'm going to see him. I know we're going to be here and we're going to talk football. And it's always, it gets that mind right, gets it set for the day. So, hey, be consistent. If you say you're going to do it, go ahead and do it and get to work, man. I love it. I love every minute of it. So, yeah, buddy. All right, man. So, look, game time is here. The games are already going on. One of the game I want y'all to check out, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, the backyard brawl. These two fan bases hate each other and some pretty nasty and vulgar things get said. But it's one of the best rivalries in college football, and they're really starting to bring it back. So definitely tune into that one as one of the big games. But, hey, we're going to get out of here. For my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore, it is your boy, Sean Spencer. We will see y'all next time. I'm going to take you out with my guy, Mr. Anton Benton. Does good work, does house care. We'll talk to you, man. Peace.